What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sports with Jake. Hope we're all doing well. So let's talk a little bit of hockey playoff right now. We talked about it briefly yesterday with Redbox. He had him call it. Let's go a little deeper right now. Of course, the Edmonton Oilers, they win Game 5 against the Dallas Stars 3-1 to go up 3-2. Nugent Hopkins had 2 goals in that game, and then in Game 6 they win 2-1. They were outshot 35-10 by Dallas. I mentioned that yesterday, but we're still to pick up the win. Big game from Stuart Skinner, stepping out. Everything gets 2 early goals, and that was able to hold off the late, push from Dallas. They got a goal in the third period. About 10 minutes left. We're able to hang on. They advanced to the Stanley Cup. And, of course, the Florida Panthers defeated the New York Rangers 2-1 in Game 6 to win that series and advance to the Stanley Cup final. And the New York Rangers should be embarrassed. That was embarrassing. Artemi Panarin was a ghost the entire series. Chris Kreider was a ghost the entire series. Mika Zibanejad was a ghost the entire series. Adam Fox was a ghost. Freaking Eric Gustafsson is running out there every night. He was terrible. Jack Roslovic shouldn't have been in the lineup. Freaking peel out like you're playing Johnny Brodzinski over freaking Blake Wheeler. I know the guy took a bad penalty in Game 5 or Game 4. It was his first game in a couple of months. Obviously coming off the groin surgery. He miraculously at 37 years old came off the groin surgery. In February, and was able to come back. We thought, all right, maybe he'll come back for the Stanley Cup final. He was back by Game 4 of the Eastern Conference Finals. And he took a bad penalty, led to the game-winning goal in overtime. But overall, he played a solid game. The guys, he gives them the best chance to win. Having him on the fourth line over freaking Johnny Brodzinski, especially with Jimmy Vesey, who's been your fourth line for the last 2 years, pretty much every night, hurt. He got hurt, I think, in the first round. So why is he playing over freaking Blake Wheeler? Also, he's double shifting everybody. I don't get it. Look, Matt Rempe's not the greatest hockey player in the world. He honestly, his fundamentals when it comes to hockey need a lot of work. He's there, for toughness and to hit and to fight. But you can play the guy more than 3 minutes. I think in game 3 or something, or Game 4, he played 4 minutes, and then in Game 5, he played 2.5 minutes. He played maybe 3 minutes in Game 6. That is just terrible, 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 terrible. And Jacob Trouba, oh my God. Jacob Trouba is the worst captain in the history of American sports. That guy is a complete liability on both ends. Gives you nothing offensively, is a turnstile on the defensive end. How this guy is the captain, I have no idea. It always should have been Chris Kreider. You could have made a case for Mika Zibanejad, even Igor. But Jacob Trouba, I tried to defend him at first. He was still a good player. He's a solid player. He's a good leader. He's a vet. He'd been there for a few years. But Jacob Trouba as your captain, the dude is a complete liability. The dude's a freaking traffic cone out there. He is horrible. $8 million a year. He is absolutely terrible. They need to get rid of him. To buy him out, it'll be $4 million. This upcoming in the final it'll be 4 as well. And the next 2 will be 2 each. The salary cap increasing in 3 years. Probably cancel out those last 2 years anyway. But either way, you cannot have him on the hockey team next year. That guy is a complete liability. That guy is horrible. Absolutely horrible. What a pathetic performance by the New York Rangers. They do it every year. 1 cup in 84 years. That is pathetic. The Rangers are becoming the Dallas Cowboys of the NHL. Obviously, a better example of that is the Toronto Maple Leafs, because they're always losing the first round every year. The fans, what they're doing in the regular season, their payroll. But look at the Rangers. They have won 1 cup after 1940. Us fans always hyped them up and said, we're going to win. They win a lot in the regular season. The Rangers don't lose in the first round every year, though I did last year. They tend to win at least one series. They're pretty often in the East Conference Finals. And they're in the Cup final in 2014. But they've won 1 cup since 1940. They've been to the Stanley Cup final only 1 time since they won in 1994. That was when they lost to the Kings in 2014. Just every year with this club, it's just horrible. Chris Drury, he's done a very good job, but God, did he strike out the trade deadline. Jack Roslovic and Alex Wenberg? Are you kidding me? Why do you think the Rangers were in on Jake Gunzel? Because they need another goal scorer. Outside of Panarin, Kreider, Zvanja, and I guess Vincent Trocheck, and Lafreniere had a breakout season. Like, they don't really have any other scoring. Like, Barclay Goodrow's a great playoff performer. He's a great penalty, but he's not, a legit goal scorer by any means. Even when Blake was healthy, the reason he's on a cheap contract is because the guy is 37 and past his prime. He's no longer the guy that was scoring 40 goals to win a pick anymore. He's a guy you put on your third line who'll give you, 10, 15 goals. He'll give you 40 points or so, maybe. He's a good leader. He plays both ends of the ice. Not a goal scorer, and none of these other guys are. You end up with freaking Alex Winberg and Jack Roslovic. Look, you didn't get up a lot. You have like a 5th round pick for Winberg. You need you need the third line center, and he fits that role, okay. But like the dude's an average bottom 6 forward at best. He was a ghost in this series. Besides the lucky goal he had in overtime in Game 3, he did nothing. Really, the whole playoffs. And Roslovic, look, they gave him a pick in 2026 for him, like a 5th rounder, so they gave up nothing for him. There's a reason. Yeah, yes, the guy like 4 years ago had a really good year. It looked like he was a budding star, but since then the guy's had a lot of injury problems. He's had off the field stuff. He's had some personal stuff, and he has not been that good. Like, again, is he a fine depth piece? Yeah, but like that should not be like what the big piece you get at the trade deadline for a team that was almost cup or bust. I mean, you have a lot of free agents. Ryan Lindgren, who's your second best defenseman, is a free agent. Couple Kako, you got to make a decision on. Do you give up on him yet? Is a free agent. Obviously you have Wimberg, a free agent, and Roslovic. You got to decide. You got to see is there a way you could trade or buy out Jacob Trouba. Your Shesterkin might want a contract extension. Now you have decisions to make. Like this core hasn't been able to get it done. So they went through that long rebuild. Then a few years ago, I thought 2 years ago you overachieved getting to the conference finals, losing in 6 to Tampa. Last year, you underachieved, losing in the first round to New Jersey. This year, they're all right. This is the year. So they went out. They brought in Blake Wheeler. They brought in Eric Gustafson. They brought in a couple of pieces, which I kind of liked. You had a phenomenal season. You were the best team in the NHL. You win the President's Cup. You had everything. You were really good defensively. You had the best goalie in the National Hockey League. You had good depth. You had a really strong top 6. You had guys in the bottom 6, like a Jimmy Vesey, who's become a solid 4th liner in the second set of the Rangers. Obviously, like when everybody was healthy, Matt Rempe obviously is, exploded on social media for, the old school play that he brings, and all these guys, you bring in Alex Wimberg and Roslovic, to help out the bottom 6. There was no reason why, you shouldn't have won the Stanley Cup. They are a better hockey than both the Dallas Stars and the Edmonton Oilers. In fact, you could argue that Edmonton's almost a better matchup for the Rangers. Yes, they are phenomenal in the power play. Yes, they're really good offensively. Rangers are also really good defensively, have a really good penalty kill, and have the best scoring National Hockey League. And Edmonton's defense is pretty solid. Rangers' offense isn't phenomenal, but they have more than enough scoring, especially considering all those Steve Skinner's played over the last 2 games. He has not been a great goalie throughout his career, especially in the playoffs. Horrible, horrible, horrible. They should be absolutely embarrassed. Every single one of them. And they're going to make some decisions, Also, Artemi Panarin, he's becoming a playoff choke. This is every year. 2 years ago, he was a ghost. I know he's playing through some injuries, but still, he was a ghost. Last year in that series against New Jersey, he was a ghost. This year, the first 2 rounds, he was great. In the conference finals, he had 1 garbage time goal, and that's it. Mika Zibanejad had 1 point in the entire series. Pittsburgh had 1 shorthanded goal in Game 5, and that's it. Fox did nothing. I know he obviously missed time with that leg injury early in the year. He's been playing on one leg for a while, but still, the guy's supposed to be a top 5 defenseman in the National Hockey League. What are you doing? What are you doing? I don't care who guys are playing her. And yes, Florida is a phenomenal team. They are a great team. They are built to win in this league. They are built to win the playoffs. Obviously they went to the Cup Finals in AC last year. There's a reason they're one of the best teams in the National Hockey League. There's a reason they are in the Stanley Cup Final. Alexander Barkov is extremely underrated. He's probably the best 2-way player in the league. Obviously, offensively, there's very few teams where he would not be on your top line. He'd be on top line for any team in the National Hockey League, and he just won a second Selke Trophy. He's an incredible defensive forward. I don't think he won the Selke for a reason. He's the best defensive forward in the National Hockey League. To me, it's not even close to Patrice Bergeron, of course, being now retired. They double and triple team, Panarin and Mika and Kreider and all those guys. They did a great job. Barkov is an incredible defensive forward, one of the better ones that I've seen. But still, come on. Panarin, Mika, and Kerr had what? Combined 2 goals and like 3 or 4 points in 6 games. That is absolutely atrocious, and they should be embarrassed. But Stanley Cup final is going to be the Edmonton Oilers against the Florida Panthers. I had the Florida Panthers winning in 6 games. This team, I think, is just destined to win the Stanley Cup. They are relentless offensively. You have studs like Alexander Barkov, Matthew Chuck. That guy is just such an incredible player. You have a lot of young guys like Eastu Luster-Ryan. You got, a lot of good young defensemen. Gustav Bolden is going to be, I think, one of the 3 best defensemen in a year or two. That guy is an absolute stud. Aaron Ekblad is phenomenal. He did a great job. He did a great job on the Rangers' first line. They're big guys in this in that series. They're incredible 2-way defensemen. Anton Lundell's another really good young player who's kind of coming to his own. They have a really good goalie in Sergei Bobrovsky, a guy who they gave us a $70 million deal a few years ago. First 2 years, he really struggled. Wasn't looking great, but the last couple years he's played a lot better. Obviously, last year he had a very good year. He took over the starting job for good in the playoffs by Game 3 against Boston last year in the first round, and he had a playoffs that he ages last year. He had a great year this year, by far his best in the Florida Panthers uniform. Was a Vezina Trophy finalist, has been great in the playoffs. The only 2 goalies that even compare to what Sergei has done in this playoffs are Igor Shesterkin, of course, and Jeremy Swayman for the Boston Bruins. Both those guys are out, so it doesn't really matter, does it? So I expect them to win. Edmonton's a very good team. They're definitely going on a great run. They are relentless offensively. They have maybe the best top 6 in the entire league, with Connor McDavid, who's the best player in the league. Leon Draisaitl is a superstar. Ryan Hopkins is really good. Evander Kane's really good. They have so many guys. Zach Hyman, who was already really good in Toronto, he's really become a star in Edmonton. This team is really good. You have guys like Matthias Janmark, Corey Perry's. That guy's still playing. The guy's been in the league since fucking 1990. He's like the guy's 50 years old. So he's lost like 3 cups. He lost with Tampa. He lost. That was like 3 cups. And at one point, he lost like 3. So on 3 different teams, he lost 3 years in a row, which is kind of crazy. And then last year, I forget where he was. Now he's in the cup final again. So hopefully he can end that luck, but I don't think he will. To be honest, they're pretty solid defensively. Darnell Nurse is very good. Evan Bouchard's turning into a stud. You got a guy like Kulak is solid. He's played pretty well in that third pair. But they're also going up against maybe the best offensive attack in the league, possibly besides themselves. And Florida's he's probably even deeper offensively than Edmonton is as well. And Edmonton's probably even better defensively. And Skinner, he's not a great goalie. I don't really think he's a starter in this league. I think he can be a top-end number 2 goalie, like a 1B guy, but I don't think he's a legit starter. And he's ever since they put him back in the lineup after Tom Pickard started a couple of games in that conference semis against Vancouver, he's played pretty well. He had he made 34 saves in the win in Game 6 over Dallas, but the guy has historically not been good in the playoffs at all. He's not a great goalie. Florida's going to light him up. It's one of those games that it's going to be a high-scoring series, and although that might favor Edmonton, that also favors Florida. There was a better team. Kudos to Chris Knobloch. He was the Rangers AHL coach for a while. He did a great job. He had to step in, like when Gerard Gallant had COVID once or twice. And he did a great job with the Rangers AHL squad. He was a top head coach candidate for a little while, and Edmonton hired him mid-season after they ran COVID. He did a great job. Team that was competing for last place in the league, ended up being a top 5 team in the conference all the way in the cup finals. So kudos to him. I don't think he gets enough credit. Obviously, you got to give credit to McDavid and Draisaitl and all these guys for stepping up. But Chris Knobloch deserves the credit as well. He's done a very good job, and as I expected, he's becoming a very good national hockey coach. But I think Florida wins the Stanley Cup final in 6 games. Other football, the Minnesota Vikings finalized a contract extension with Justin Jefferson yesterday. He agreed on a 4-year deal of $140 million, $110 million guaranteed. He's on the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. Look, you had to give it done. The guy went healthy. To me, he's the best receiver in the entire league. After last year, he missed like 6 or 7 games and still had 1,000 yards. The guy's an absolute superstar. Minnesota absolutely won that trade. And they traded Stephon next to the Bills they got him with the first round, and they got 3 other draft picks in that trade as well. They absolutely won. He's an absolute superstar. And the guy you obviously want to build around. Obviously, you just draft the quarterback in the first round. You got to give him something to work with, and they did. They got some nice weapons over there. As it was, of course, highlighted by Justin Jefferson, who's an absolute superstar. They lock him up. Now if you got all these other receivers trying to get contracts, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, CeeDee Lamb, all these guys are probably like, they must have really liked that. That definitely was music to their ear. I heard CeeDee Lamb is not going to show up to minicamp just yet as he's trying to get a contract extension. So that definitely was big. And we actually have breaking news. I was going to get to this eventually, but a ruling that has actually come down. Giuseppino Marsano, he's an infielder for the San Diego Padres. He has been banned from baseball by MLB for betting on games. It came out yesterday that he was allegedly betting on MLB games, and he was being investigated, and he was possibly getting a lifetime ban. But it is official. News just broke that Giuseppino Marsano has been banned from MLB for about the league's gambling policy. Look, obviously we had the whole scandal with Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter earlier this season, and now it's kind of continued. Apparently, there's 4 other players being investigated as well. Don't know who they are. Hopefully they get released very soon. I'll get that, and then I can talk about you guys as soon as that news gets broken to us. Marsano is been banned from the league. Look, I've made my stance pretty clear with the sport when you got athletes gambling. Don't gamble on your sport. There's too many things, that's when you think, point shaving. You start thinking of, what Tim Donaghy did, the former NBA referee, and, you're thinking of, point shaving scandals that we've had and things that shady. That should never be allowed. If you're betting on another sport, I don't think that matters at all. I know like NFL's a stupid rule. Like if you're in the team facility, you can't bet even on their team. Like to me, that makes no sense. So like I don't see like don't bet on your own sport. Obviously, like a guy like Jonathan Porter, he's got to go. Betting on his team to lose. One thing like a guy like Calvin really bet on the Falcons to win while he was away from the team battling mental health issues. That's one thing. But to bet on your team to lose, like that's crazy. I don't know if Marshall betting on his team to lose or to win or what he's doing, or if he's even betting on his with the team instead on the league. But to me, like yes, all these leagues are sponsored by all these sports betting apps and websites, and sports betting has already popped off, and a lot of these guys I'm sure like to sports bet. They have lives outside of playing their professional sport, baseball, basketball, football, whatever it is. But you also got another rule. When you sign your contract, which is a very lucrative contract to be a professional athlete, there are certain things you can't do. One of those things, you can't bet on your sport. And you have to know that. Like, how guys haven't realized it by now is beyond me. So, he's been banned from baseball. I want to feel bad, but, dude, knew the rule. The Sacramento Kings going to basketball. They have extended head coach Mike Brown on a 3-year extension for $30 million. They originally offered him 3 years for $21 million. Brown wanted $10 million a year, and they said, you know what? You deserve it. So they gave him an extension. Of course, the head coach market in the NBA has kind of exploded since Monty Williams got a $7 million contract. All these other coaches were like, oh, you got a mediocre coach who's been to the finals one time. Other than that, never been out of the second round. Just won 14 games a year ago. If he's worth that amount of money, if he's worth $11+ million a year, I certainly am worth that. So that's why you see you saw Steve Kerr get that huge deal. Spoelstra get that huge deal. Steve Kerr's a 4-time champion. Spoelstra one of the all-time great coaches in NBA history. Now you see Mike Brown always thought was a good coach. I like he was good in Cleveland. He obviously won Coach of the Year last year, and now this year the Kings lost in the play-in. They gave with another year left on his deal. They gave him $10 million a year. Apparently, Tom Thibodeau, the Knicks, is going to get a $10 million a year extension, which I am hoping for. I think he's a very good coach who did a great job for the New York Knicks. So, Mike Brown has been extended by Sacramento Kings. And the Detroit Pistons move on from Troy Weaver, their GM. They have parted ways with him. There was rumors that was expected to happen. Of course, they brought in the new president of basketball operations, Trahan Lang, sort of ahead of them, and he had the green light to, keep or fire Weaver and the head coach Monty Williams only a year after they gave him a $6 to $7 million deal. But they parted ways with Troy Weaver after 4 years. Look, this team wasn't that good. He wasn't given the great hand. And he did draft Kate Cunningham first overall, which seemed like was a very good pick. Jalen Durham with the 10th overall pick seems like it was a good pick. Kind of don't know about Jane Ivey yet. But other than that, I didn't think he did a great job. Giving up 5 second rounds for James Wiseman did not work out. And, Alistar Thompson, we don't know about it, like the way he constructed the roster. Well, I've said it before. So you have 2 young guards who are very talented. You have a 3 who can't shoot, and you have a bunch of bigs, but none of them can stretch the floor, so you can't hide the shooting deficiencies of Alistar. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense. The roster construction is kind of weird. At one point they had given that contract out to Marvin Bagley. I don't know why they ever did that, but he's no longer on the team. But yeah, he wasn't great. Also, he gave freaking Monty Williams $7 million. That's just absurd. So he's gone. Trahan Langdon, who was the GM in New Orleans and the president of basketball operations for Detroit, see what he does. But Troy Weaver is out to Detroit. And so the Cleveland Cavaliers looking for a new head coach. They're firing J.B. Bickerstaff, and they're interviewing Chris King and Johnny Bryant. Chris King's been an assistant with Miami Heat for a while. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten a head coach look. He's worked with so many great players. Worked with one of the greatest coaches ever. When it comes to seeing the most out of their players, also Mike is one of the probably 5 greatest at that in the NBA history for sure. He's got a couple of interviews. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten more. He's getting an interview, and they're also interviewing Johnny Bryant, the Knicks. He's been known to be a very good talent evaluator. He was with Utah at one point as a system. They had Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. Next the last couple of years, he became very close with Emmanuel quickly. Apparently, he helped develop. He went a long way and helped develop him, and he's worked with a lot of our young players before. Had a lot of young guys over the years. RJ Barrett will be top of them. Those 2 guys have been quite become what I thought he was going to be. But he's been known as a very good talent evaluator. That's why he's stuck around as an assistant for a while with Utah, now the Knicks. But he's now interviewing for the head coach job at Cleveland. And so this is a really weird one. The Buffalo Bills signed Gable Stevenson. I don't know where to begin. I don't know what the Bills are doing. Like, are they going to play a freaking wide receiver? Like, I guess he's a linebacker? You don't know. Gable Stevenson is an Olympic gold medalist, a very famous college wrestler. He is already one of the greatest college wrestlers ever, already the greatest ever. I still think it's Brock Lesnar, but it's no story for another day. Was a historically great college wrestler, is an Olympic, won a gold medal in the Olympics. He was signed by WWE. They were like, oh, this guy's the next Kurt Angle. He's next Brock Lesnar because of the athleticism and stuff. Then he got in the ring. The guy was horrible in the ring. He couldn't cut off promo to save his life. The one match I remember him in NXT against Baron Corbin was terrible. Fans hated him. Was an absolute disaster. It was like, oh, he's coming, and he just never came. And eventually they just cut him recently. Bill signed him. I mean, he can't be any worse than he was in the ring. People are like, oh my God, he's really athletic, and he won the gold medal. Let's make him next Kurt Angle. Then they realized, oh wait, yeah, Kurt Angle was like a natural heel from the start. He's not. Yeah. Oh, the guy's freakishly athletic, and he, was a college national champion in wrestling. Let's come back to Brock Lesnar. But then they realized the guy can't wrestle. Yeah, that whole thing. Also didn't have the greatest manager of all time, pull him, stand next to him throughout his whole career as well. Yeah, so. But he's a Bill. I don't know why. There's been a few NFL players who have had some stints in the NFL. Brock Lesnar played for the Minnesota Vikings briefly. Roman Reigns was briefly in the NFL. Mojo Rawley. The Rock played college football, and then at the University of Miami, and then he played in a couple of football leagues. But Gable Stevenson don't know what they're trying to get out of him. If he plays in preseason, I'm watching Bills preseason. I want to see how that goes. But Ron, winding down here, the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul fight has been postponed. A week or two ago, Mike Tyson had an ulcers flare up on a plane. So the fight that was supposed to be July 20th has been postponed. Probably by the end of this week, they're going to announce the new date for that fight, but that's been postponed for now. Look, it's a cash grab for the both of them. I know Tyson's not the kind of guy to me to take a bag and just go out there. Oh, I'll stand there if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. He's not that kind of guy. Lord knows he doesn't need the money. To me, that's not the kind of guy that he is. But at the same time, it's a cash grab for the both of them. Jake Paul, look, I think the guy is a bit of an asshole. I think he's really arrogant. He's really annoying. When it comes to the business decisions he's made himself a lot of money. If he faces any sort of guy who's any sort of legit boxer, he has no shot. I mean, he lost to freaking Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is awful. The guy barely beat KSI and arguably should have beaten. And arguably, from what I've heard, should have won that. KSI should have won that fight. KSI is a freaking YouTuber. He's a co-founder of Prime of Logan Paul. Or Jake Paul's brother. He's not a boxer. But, he's a guy that can fight. So if you throw him in the ring with a washed UFC fighter who's never boxed before, or, some retired athlete like Nate Robinson, all right, yeah, he'll win the fight, no problem. But if you put him in there, with even Tommy Fury, who's even a really crappy boxer, he doesn't have a shot in hell. His form is terrible. He's not a good boxer. His fights aren't fun to watch. Most things look, Mike Tyson's also one of the greatest boxers ever. But the dude is 57 years old. Outside of that, 3-round exhibition with Roy Jones a couple of years ago, he hasn't had a fight in, 20 plus years? 25 years? Jake Paul, he needs to fight. Can he please fight someone who has at least had a fight, in the last 15 years, maybe? Please? Oh my God! To me, it's a cash grab for the both of them. Tyson, hope he knocks the guy out, but he's 30 years older than Jake Paul. He's been training like crazy, but if the guy's having ulcers flare up to the point where he needs medical attention on an airplane, guy's supposed to be, one of the greatest boxers ever, just one of the toughest guys ever in the history of this planet, and he's having ulcers flare ups. Maybe he shouldn't be fighting a 27-year-old YouTuber who if nothing else is in really good shape physically. I don't know. That's my thoughts on that. And Islam beats Dustin Poirier at UFC. He retains the UFC title. That's his 14th straight title defense. So congratulations to him. A couple of things I want to get off my chest before we move on. These WNBA players need to stop with the Caitlin Clark abuse. Chenny Clark, her whole thing of just hip checking Caitlin Clark, that is not a basketball play. That is not a basketball play at all. I know before Clark elbowed her in the face or something, it was a complete accident. That's a dirty play. And she goes, "Oh, I'm not answering any questions about Caitlin Clark." And then her tweeting out, all she brings is 3-point shooting. Caitlin Clark has been in the league for 10 games, and she has already run circles around your career. Chenny Clark has done nothing. She's, this year averaging 12 points a game, and everything else, that's it. Well, from what I've heard, she's a decent scorer. She brings toughness and a decent scorer, a nice little player to have, but nothing more than that. Caitlin Clark is the face of the freaking league. And from what I'm hearing, the players are jealous of her. Just stop. Charles Barkley was 1 zillion% correct when he said they need to stop being petty. Just stop. Okay? Why do you think you have private charters? Because of her. Why do you think, you're getting all this other attention and selling out your stadium, which you had never done before? Because of her. Why do you think all this added revenue is coming into the league? Because of her. It's not hard to figure out. Before she was in the WNBA, your ratings were horrendous. Your attendance records were horrendous. The revenue was horrendous. She enters the league, and the revenue just shoots up. The attendance record shoot up. The attention you're getting has shot up. That's not a coincidence. And Angel Reese, she needs to shut up. I am tired of her. I am so tired. She's a very good player. There's a reason she's a top 10 pick in this year's draft. She's on Shani Clark's team. Her going up to her and being really happy for her and hugging her after she hip checked Caitlin Clark. I don't believe what you said. Oh yeah, we don't hate each other. Clearly you do. Because every time you get a chance to throw Caitlin Clark under the bus or one up her, you do. And her saying, "Oh yeah, the reason the women's basketball, I'll take the villain role. Like, if women's basketball's doing really well, it's not because one person. It's because of me too." What are you talking about? You were, yes, you won that national championship 2 years ago. But this year, you lost in the Elite Eight this year. You haven't done anything else in WNBA because your career is just starting. But all right, maybe you're part of it, but stop pretending like you're on the same level as Caitlin Clark. She's a good player, pretty good scorer, really, really good rebounder, good defender. She's just a good player. But holy hell, she is not Caitlin Clark. And she needs to stop making herself the villain in every freaking situation. It's getting old. I know she's trying to be she's like, "Oh, I'll take on the villain role." Cool, take on the freaking villain role. But do a little class. Oh my God, she needs to shut the hell up. I'm sorry, but she needs to shut her mouth. Oh my God, I don't get why people are so jealous of her. Can we stop? Also, can we stop with this freaking race thing? Stop race thing. I hate when people do it. It's the stupidest thing ever. Her being good has nothing to do with her color of her skin. It's because she's worked hard to get where she is, and she's a really good freaking basketball player. Stop being jealous. Get over it. Grow a set and get over it. Okay? That is the most pathetic thing I've ever heard. Stephen had come out and say, and Jamel Hill, which I'm not surprised, she's the most freaking worst animals I've ever seen. A race baiting asshole. Just stop it. Stop it. Okay? What are we doing? What has this society become? Okay? Stop it. Okay? Stop it. Oh my God. What a joke. And before we close out, I got to talk about the Mets. This team is horrible. They are just horrible. What happened to Jeff McNeil? The dude's hitting, Steven hitting 220 at this point. I don't think he's doing that. This guy fell off a cliff. 2 years ago, the guy was a batting champion, was one of the best hitters in the league. Outside of his January in 2021, he's been one of the best hitters in the league since he entered the league in August of 2018. Last year, didn't have a great year. It's been horrible this year. Now he's got 4 years left at $12 million a year. $10 million a year. He's got to go. Luis Angel Acuna is on the cusp of getting called back. He's a second baseman. He's got to go. Pete Alonso, dude's hitting 230. I know he's got 13 bombs, but he only has 30 RBI. He's hitting 230. This is a guy whose career OPS is 850 or something like that. 860. His OPS is 780 right now. He's not having a good year. They offered him 7 years, $158 million. He said no. But at the time, if he had what he's done throughout his career, his best year ever, he will pay that again. Yes, he would get more, but he's going to lose a lot of money. Thankful Lindor's just getting hot, but he still was only hitting 230. Brandon Nimmo is supposed to be, this guy's making a lot of money. He's supposed to be, one of their best players. The dude's hitting 210. He's been horrible. Absolutely horrible. Freaking terrible. Oh my God. This team is so bad. Mendoza's gotten too much hate about the way he's been using his bullpen. I know in the game they blew against Arizona, yes, he didn't have Howard to eat up innings. He had to go to, Nunez and Denny Young for the first couple. Then going to Reed Garrett, and then closing of Diekman, who couldn't finish. He had to finish with Reed Foley. I know he didn't want to, go to Olivia and Garrett for more than an inning because they've been struggling. He didn't want to use Reed Foley because he's been overworked. I said you could have Nunez was lights out in the inning. You could have let him finish the 6th inning, or at least mix and match with Danny Young and Deep in the 6th inning, and then maybe you continue to mix and match with those guys through the 7th, but then go to Ottavino and then Garrett. You might have had a better shot of winning that game. Like I don't get it. And then he goes to Ottavino in the 9th. Yesterday, he got in trouble, and I think they went to Diekman again. He was able to get out of a jam. But this team is just so freaking pathetic. But that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.